So in your setting with your guys, do you have like a specific set of metrics that you find more valuable, that's different from guy to guy, or do you find that there's more uniform within the sport?
Almost every guy. So the squat is the squat. I mean, basically, I know, like, I mean, you know, in any sport, I'm going to be boring. I'm going to kind of throw a big squat blanket on every sport, but just what it takes to be able to squat. I think we talked about this in the last time. And what it takes to be able to squat well is such a strong, like, if you have those things, like, it's such a strong indicator of like your baseline level of movement. And you should be able to do a lot of things off of that. You know, it's not to use corny, but it's your platform for all other movements, if you ask me. So the squat is something we work on regularly. And so, like, how it translates to dynamic movement is like we get a guy on a force plate jump and you know, or if you're jumping with a gym aware and you can actually see the you know, the forward to back, you know, movement, if they translate forward or not, like that. You can see how well a guy loads. You can look at their unweighting phase. So basically, someone's unweighting phase on a force plate jump, the ability to eccentrically orient, you know, the pelvis, the whole system, is a massive indicator. Guys who can't do that are usually going to be winding up with some tendinopathy or potential for tendinopathy, knee, you know, mainly knee, but maybe even Achilles too. So the unweighting phase in a jump, the ability to eccentrically orient your pelvis, your whole system, is really is a massive starting point for these guys, and why the squat is so important. You know, you have to be able to receive first. And I don't think that's like, we can put all these fancy words on it, but like, you know, people would say 50 years ago, you got to be able to land if you're going to jump. So it's the same thing, same concept, right? You know, you got to be able to receive a load if you're going to, you know, produce it, because then the following action after production of that is you're probably receiving another load. So that is one major one for sure. And that can be indicative. You know, you could pick a measurement on the table that indicates that, right? You know, so, you know, if you want to use like Bill's arc of motions and stuff like that, like, you know, you can kind of have some kind of insight on whether or not a guy could, you know, can eccentrically orient and can yield in certain places and not. You know, you get a guy who's got like lower posterior compression, so he's got that sway back. He's got no butt in the sway back posture, right? He's probably going to have a short, straight leg raise. That's a guy who's going to have trouble getting to parallel in a squat, and he's going to have trouble stopping like his linear momentum. You know, so he's not going to be able to, like, let's say you go to like a Euro step or like a lunge stop, it's going to be a bad stop. And so, because in order to do that, you have to put most of your weight backwards, right? Posteriorly. And so if you've got lower posterior compression and it's pushing everything forward, any type of posterior compression, but I'm just speaking low, like, you won't be able to hit that kind of 90, like above 60 degrees of hip flexion 90. I'm telling you things, you know, and you won't be able to place your weight behind you to kind of offset your forward momentum. So that's a big deal, you know, when you see those things. So, and again, that's, can you eccentrically orient that part of the pelvis?